Alright folks, welcome back. Another day, another YouTuber embroiled in drama. Today's episode is special because it's about a YouTuber that everybody knows and who pretty much pioneered the entire commentary drama genre on YouTube. That's right, we're going to be talking about Idubbbz. Now, Idubbbz was once hailed as the most powerful YouTuber. His content cop videos seemed to be a major factor in swaying public opinion against creators who were caught doing some very dubious things, if I do say so myself. Most famous is probably his content cop on Leafy, which started the downfall of one of the most popular commentary channels at the time. Leafy is here. Oh, how the mighty can fall, and Idubbbz has fallen. He's faced some extreme backlash since his girlfriend decided to start an OnlyFans account. Basically, people responded to this news, and the news that Idubbbz was okay with his girlfriend selling explicit photos online by calling Idubbbz a simp or a cuck, based on the idea that a normal guy probably would not be okay with his girlfriend selling explicit materials online. Which, honestly guys, I'd argue, I personally would not be okay with that, and I don't think that I've spoken to anybody since this whole story is broken that has been on Idubbbz's side, saying that it's okay. That's anecdotal evidence, I know, it's not the best proof, and perhaps I do live in some kind of bubble, but it still seems like the popular consensus is that Idubbbz is simping hardcore. Now, I know, this isn't really the type of thing that I would make a video on normally, and originally I wasn't gonna, because I thought the whole situation was too simple, if you get me. But then Ian went and made a video, and he turned the entire drama level up to 11 on this, so we had to make a video and cover it. Hey guys, I just want to take a few seconds to pause and tell you that the majority of my views come from people who are not subscribed already. If you want to support the channel or you like my content, please consider subscribing. And I know if you're already subscribed, it would really help me out tremendously if you could like and comment on this video. As a growing creator, these three things really do make a difference to both me as a creator and to YouTube, who promote content with more engagement. Thank you so much for doing that, and let's get back to the topic at hand. Now, if any of you watching are big and famous YouTubers, and let's be honest, there's at least one of you here watching in silence, I know you're there, and you happen to find yourself embroiled in controversy, the best move that you can do is to not address it. Apology videos never work. Apology videos often come off as cheap, and sometimes creators come off as unrelatable because their apology is so bad. Who was it? There was that one creator, maybe it was T. Martin? I can't be sure, who framed his apology video to show off his huge house and his nice car. And apology videos, they just never work. Everybody's always going to criticize you. Then on the other side of the spectrum, we have this video that Idubbbz made. It's not an apology, but rather a video where he vents about how he is in the right and that everybody criticizing him is in the wrong. This definitely is not the way to go either, especially when your video is like the one that Idubbbz made, because I don't know why, but he chose to make it really weird. I don't know how to explain how awkward this video is without showing a clip, so go ahead and take a gander real quick.
My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, which is a website where you can upload amateur porn. Anything from double penetration all the way over to lewd cosplay and everything in between. And I think all of it is cool.
Okay, come on, that was weird. There's something so off about the way that he thinks all of it is cool. Like, his eyes are saying what he doesn't want to say. Now, I don't think that anybody has ever said that they think sex work is cool either, thinking about it. Like, that's not how you phrase it. It's just such an odd thing to say. He could have said that he supports her and supports her choices, or that he supports sex workers, and that would have sounded way better in context. But for some reason, he decided to upload the version of the video where he looks like that American soldier who blinked the word torture in Morse code in an interview to let everybody know that his captors were not being as nice as they claimed. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but his choice of wording, his demeanor, it's not what I would expect from somebody who's saying what they want to say. And to compound this further is the complete lack of decent arguments that Ian makes in this entire video. For example, he goes on to mention that the majority of people are joking around it and making memes, which he does claim to be fine with. But he says there are some people who are devastated by it and implies that they are taking it too far. His example of this is a very clear meme post written by some random nobody. Sorry if he happens to be watching.
But there's a whole nother group of people who feel personally devastated and betrayed. First up, we got Edward. He probably got told by a lot of people that he looks like Idubbbz, and he really liked that because Idubbbz was cool. But now that Idubbbz is a simp, now he's gonna go in full baby wawa mode. No, shut the fuck up, you dumb fuck. You don't get to ha-ha funny yourself out of this one. You're a simp. You act all edgy and cool on YouTube and then go and film your girlfriend shoving anal beads up her ass for OnlyFans afterwards? Fuck you. You lied to everyone. You ruined my life. Oh, looks like I did something a little too edgy.
I mean, I cannot be the only one who read that and noticed that it was an obvious bait, right? No one could actually write something like that and take it seriously. It's a meme. Idubbbz should know this. His career is built off of memes and jokes. The guy's basically a comedian who got famous for his edgy humor. So why is he suddenly unable to tell what is edgy humor and what to take seriously? The thing is that this isn't the only thing he brings up that is a bad argument. Almost every point he makes in this entire video, aside from his opinions, that he's cool with it because they're opinions, they can't be good or bad, all of his points are bad points.
No, Idubbbz, you should break up with her. But I'm cool with it. You do realize there are guys out there in private right now jacking off to your girlfriend. But I guess it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not a problem.
Do you guys see what I mean? I mean, that's not a good point at all. I'm not sure what he's talking about. I don't think that it's a common thing for guys to do that. I mean, is it? Am I living under a rock? Am I weird for not knowing about that? Because he made the assertion so boldly that he seems to think that it's true. Maybe it's something that he does in his spare time. I don't know. I'm not going to judge, but I really don't want to think about that too hard. So let's move on. What I do want to address is how he called out Atozy. You guys have probably all heard of Atozy, and if not, he's a fellow American commentary YouTuber. He made a video on this whole situation before Idubbbz responded, and Idubbbz used clips from his video about the drama in order to argue against Atozy's points. Points, I do want to point out, that Atozy argued were taken out of context. But even so, Idubbbz's arguments are so laughable against Atozy points that I'm not sure if they even count as arguments. More like just bold statements with no evidence behind them.
I wanted to talk more about all the shitty takes that people have, and this guy that we're going to watch has pretty much listed all of what the arguments are for people who don't morally agree with the situation.
So on the cons, we have everyone can see what he sees for a few dollars.
What exactly do you think I'm seeing? Do you think she's shooting fireworks out of her pee? Do you think she's screening The Matrix Reloaded down there? It's not a mystery, it's a pussy, dude. And then there's no special pussy. It doesn't become less valuable the more people see it. If that's the case, my body and my person is the most valueless thing on the planet.
See what I mean? That argument was meritless. He compared apples to oranges. Atozy clearly wasn't trying to say that she's streaming the first season of Friends down below where only normally Idubbbz could watch it. He's making the point that there are some things that are intimate and that the average person only shares with their partner. Now, there are valid arguments that Idubbbz could have made here, something along the lines of, well, I disagree with that because it's a restrictive societal norm, and why should we judge others for doing what they need to do for a job? Which is still an argument that I would disagree with, but at least it's an actual argument. The point that people will be seeing something that usually only people share with their partners isn't negated just because Idubbbz has gone shirtless on YouTube a couple of times, as it's not against societal norms for a dude to be shirtless. I mean, has Idubbbz ever been to a beach?
The internet is a forever archive, so there's no, I regret, delete all button. That's not quite there.
I don't know why this shitty point is being made. It's sort of like from 2003. By the way, the internet, it's a forever archive. Didn't know if you knew. But when you upload something, it might stick around. This isn't done impulsively. Like, what do you think? Someone's just going to make an OnlyFans just on a whim? Didn't give it any thought, just thought maybe I'll sell my pussy online and see how it goes.
Now, he was pretty dismissive of that point. But again, I think it was a fair point that he couldn't argue against. Of course, I think it's kind of a cliche saying that boomers drilled into our heads as we were growing up, but that doesn't make it any less true. And given that it seems like Atozy was arguing from the standpoint of a societal norm, I think the pseudo-argument that, of course, she put some thought into it beforehand is void. Because it doesn't really matter what the person themselves thinks in this context, because the stuff being put up on the internet forever wouldn't be an issue if it only ended up where they wanted it to end up. But the internet is fluid, and stuff can find its way into places that you really don't want it to be. It can be seen by people that you really don't want seeing it and end up in scenarios that you couldn't have expected. So it's not a bad point to point out that there's no taking this back once you've started. But I'm also not sure that I would agree that that's something that should 100% discourage people from doing something like this. It is kind of a choice, but I think it's not something you can argue against. It's something that should be brought up whenever anybody makes a choice like this.
And then future jobs, they might be a little bit harder to come by.
I think this is one of the most important opinions to highlight because it really demonstrates a severe lack of real-world experience when you're saying that future jobs are going to be harder to come by because of an OnlyFans account. Like, if you think this affects your standing or your social credibility in getting jobs, you are so sadly mistaken. And I will also say, if you want to morally grandstand, one of the shittiest things that I think you can do morally is judging someone about what they did previously and not hiring them even though they're qualified for the job.
Well, like every point that Idubbbz has made today, this one is awful. Of course, putting nude photos of yourself online can affect future jobs, especially if you're a sex worker as opposed to some random person who was the victim of an unfortunate nude leak. He says it's shitty to judge people based on what they've done before, but if somebody was a porn star, you're not going to want them teaching a first grade class, right? Same thing as if somebody was a convicted murderer, you probably wouldn't want to hire him on as a police officer. Every choice that we make has consequences, and there aren't many jobs that will expose you to as many stigmas as sex work will. Now, I'm not saying that I would agree that it's 100% okay to not hire someone because of their past, because I do admit people can make stupid mistakes and people can change and everything, but I do feel like you could stop anybody walking down the street and ask them if they would want a cam girl reading their kids' book at the local library, and they'd say no. There are some things that people will judge you for, and sex work is definitely one of them. I cannot imagine that Idubbbz is genuinely arguing that this will not affect future jobs. It can't be something that he believes, because it's just such an obvious point. It's something that's impossible to argue against because of the way that our society is. If he argued that it's not fair that we judge people based on what they've done, well then at least he has an argument. Not a good one though, because if we can't judge people based on what they have done and what they are doing, then how are we supposed to judge anybody on anything? I just don't know what happened, guys. Idubbbz used to be legit. He used to be able to destroy people's careers with nothing more than an upload. His arguments always seem to make sense in a rational sense to me. But in this video, his response to perhaps the biggest drama that he has ever been in, he seems irrational. He's arguing from emotion rather than logic, and I feel like that's seriously gonna hurt his career. I mean, just looking at the video, which is titled Sex Workers, Idubbbz Complains, by the way, more than 50% of the likes on it are dislikes, which is unheard of for a YouTuber as adored as Idubbbz used to be. I mean, what do you guys think about this whole scenario? It's kind of messed up, I know. I wouldn't have made a video about this had he not made a video himself that was full of such awful arguments. Because honestly, I just really didn't care. Until he decided to throw his career out the window, I was out. I didn't care. But since he decided to throw his career under the bus, I had to talk about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And if you made it this far, can I get you to comment something with the word oranges in it down below? Because I just want to see who watches all the way to the end. Don't forget to like. Have a great day. God bless you.